How to stay emotionless whilst in a trade. So you see this trade right here. I called this trade on our private group in the mentorship. So if you want to join, you can just text me on Discord and Instagram. But most importantly, like you can check, go about the chart. It's exactly sent on advance and actually live. Right? I'm not scamming out here, but if you were to take this trade, like how many emotions do you think you would be able to handle? Because in here you have price retesting this, then going up. Are you closing the trade? Are you putting stops right here? Are you putting stops right here? Then price goes back down, and you're like, oof, oof, okay. And then price goes back up. Oh my god! And then you have equal highs, but then price goes back down. But as price goes back down, you know that we have equal highs, and then it doesn't even break these equal lows. It just goes back up again. So we've been like two times close to TP, no, three times close to TP, and four times close to break even. And right now, this is not looking good as we just swept the equal lows and now about to go further. Like when I took this trade, I was aiming for a bit more than 3R, but even then 3R would be kind of here, which is also super close, which would even be more stressful. But yeah, I took this as a confluence of having this low, but I knew that this was a trap, this will become a trap. So I knew this trap would get taken, and then he actually got took, but in this little Asia by a millimeter, and then he got took better. But now price is running. Now price is running. There's absolute reason to go higher. It has reason to come tag out the London highs. This is becoming a trap for sure, unless it works in my favor miraculously, or I don't even know how you say that word, but it will be a miracle. But brothers, as soon as we enter, as soon as we were here, actually, I had already accepted the fact that the trade will be a break even. And then it went back down. And when it went, it's playing my emotions. I'm not gonna lie, but I still gotta remember that this is nothing. This is nothing. All right, one trade doesn't mean shit. One trade doesn't mean shit. There's no reason for me to go break my head and like change my mood because of a trade. Because this will be nothing. Next week, this trade will be. Well, what effect is going to have in my life? I'm already risk free. I'm already at break even. So it's either break even or it's a win. But it's a win that didn't came. But it is what it is. Like, of course, these break evens are not way more painful than just normal losses because price was actually coming close to your TP. But that's the whole reason why it's harder. It's because it came close to your TP, and the reason why it hits you harder is because of your expectations. And so the difference between your expectation and reality is what's going to determine your emotions. So imagine this trade, you were kind of on this area, and your expectation was going to be a 3R win, a 3.3 in this case. And right now, the reality might be a break even. So there's a huge difference between 3 plus 3.3R and 0. And so that difference is going to cause emotions. And so the best way to avoid these emotions is always think in a worst case scenario. So the worst case scenario here isn't even a loss, it's a break even. All right? The worst case is a break even. I'll live here with nothing. Fuck. We move on. You can say fuck once, okay, 3 times in 1 minute, but then you gotta move on. All right? It is what it is. And once you get into the trade, I want you to tell yourself it's gonna be a loss. Of course, you're taking trades thinking that there will be a win. Don't just take any bullshit, of course. But you're gonna come into the markets like, I'm executing because I'm seeing my plan, but it's all based on probabilities. I know I have some losers in my strat, so in order to save my emotions, for my psychology to be better, I'm gonna assume this will be a loss, and if it's a loss, everything's okay. And so then worst case scenario happens. It's a loss you already predicted. So if you're already expecting a loss and market actually gives you a loss, I mean, you're not going to be that emotional about it. Regardless of how bad the situation is with everything in life, if you already expect it, of course, it's going to hit you less hard. I'm going to use a painful example here, but imagine you have someone that's close that you know that they will pass soon, but because you know that, you're kind of already emotionally preparing yourself. You already know that it will become possible, even though it's still going to hit you hard, of course, but it would be way easier to deal with that instead of having that person passing away like that, like car accident, boom, he has died. Now it's way harder to deal with because it wasn't expected. And that's it, boys. Remember, expectations, reality, what's in between is emotions. So if they're both the same, then there's no friction for emotions. All right? So you always want to be thinking on the worst case scenario, because if you're thinking on a worst case scenario, you're not expecting something crazy to happen, right? And you never want to be saying, this setup looks so good, I think it's going to be a TP. This setup looks so good. No, first, every single setup should be looking good. Second, you have losers in your strategy. Even if you take every single one of those high class setups, you have losers. So don't expect every single one to hit. And if you don't expect every single one to hit, then you'll be way better off. I don't know if this trade is going to be a winner. I don't know if this trade is going to be a loser. But I know in the long term, I'm profitable. So I just got to execute and see. Trade like a robot, because at the end, I know I'll be profitable. Uh, way easier said than done, I know. But also remember that what causes emotions for us in the market is money. So don't try to focus as least as possible on the money aspect, and just focus on being a good trader. And being a good trader means following your edge, following your plan, and so trade it like you would in backtesting. And don't do things out of impulse, and definitely not because you just saw your P&L go from one number to another. All right? Do things based off this and not based off this. And that's how you become great in trading. Hope you enjoyed. Leave a like and subscribe, and I'll see you on the next one, boys.